my first web project was I downloaded the trailer for Matrix Reloaded. I cut it into screenshots of every single frame.
Oh, wow.
And I made a website for it, so people in Czech Republic with a bad internet could watch the trailer. But then I found out that freelancing is quite hard. It's not easy.
So Emplifi is not just one product; it's multiple products.
Yeah, it's a huge platform. My team is around 20 people right now. UX, UI, research, and writing. I think a lot of people made website through our platform. I think it's like 5 million users in Czech Republic, which is half of the Czech Republic, basically built a website through that platform. It's still around social media and management, but we expanded even to chatbots, to VOC, to agents and care and commerce and ratings, reviews stuff. And the whole designer thing started to be a bit more running around. But now with AI, you can focus on stuff that maybe you are good at, and the other things will be done not super silently and not absolutely on background, but it will be done by AI.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Edly Spotlight. So far on this podcast, we have invited technologists, education experts, and product leaders. But we haven't had any designer, which is why I'm super happy to introduce Luděk Černocký. Luděk, you are a design expert with more than 20 years of experience in the field. You are now the vice president of product design at Emplifi. That's Emplifi with a capital E and 2 I's. So you're going to tell us about that in a minute. You have yourself launched or supported a few products. You are a dog lover, and there's a connection, but I don't want to spoil that. You have an impressive track record of launching and supporting your own products. You are based out of beautiful Prague in the Czech Republic. As for myself, I'm Régis Bemo. I'm the Vice President of Engineering at Edly, which is the EdTech division of Arbisoft, itself a global provider of software services. As part of my work there, I focus on EdTech, AI, and open source software, to put it broadly. So I think we have a lot in common. We were both born in the 20th century, which makes us officially boomers for most of mankind. Coming from Europe, we both know a lot about fascism. Although I must say there are more and more people in this category these days. And we're both managers in a field that is progressively being replaced by software that we ourselves have actively contributed to creating, which means that we'll probably clock in at about the same time at the job center in about 6 months, and we'll have no one to blame but ourselves. Anyway, how are you doing today, Luděk?
Thank you for having me. What a great introduction. I think I'll be faster. I'll be sooner in the job center. Developers have it a bit easier, I think, but I'll be there. I'll be there sooner. But I'm doing good. Thank you.
You're starting this conversation on a very dark note. I only mentioned fascism and employment.
But I love it. Welcome from Prague. Say, we are from. Are you in Paris?
No, I'm in the southeast of France.
Okay, I thought we are also, the P ones, the Prague and Paris, but no. So
almost,
very glad you're having me.
I'd like to ask you about yourself. I introduced you as a product designer. So I'd like to ask you about the origin story, because this is an origin story that is too good to be true. So can you tell us how you got in the field?
Okay, thank you. Calling me expert, that is, thank you for that. I haven't heard that in a while.
This is a podcast. You're not supposed to be modest. You're not supposed to be humble.
Okay. So yeah, I'm the expert. So the origin story is, it's fairly simple. When I was a kid and I was playing tennis for on a high level professionally, but then the doctor said me that if I continue, I will basically be, disabled or something very soon because of my back. So I stopped, and my parents, they had no idea what to do. So they got me a computer. It's, the obvious thing. And I, as a kid, I was obviously playing games on that. I was absolutely not interested in any technology and stuff. And there's like very far in past. But then, one certain movie came out when I was 14 or more 15. It absolutely changed my life in every aspect. You can see the wardrobe, black everywhere, and I still do it. I still love the black color. So the Matrix came out, and I suddenly was absolutely blown away. And from that point, I started to be curious. Like, the computers, you can do stuff, not just play games. It is hilarious. You can do maybe this and that, and the code and everything. I was super into that. Then I went to high school, and then they started to prepare the second one, and I was starting to be curious. What can I do? And internet in Czech Republic was very bad. Like, it sucked. Like, so what I did, my first web project was I downloaded the trailer for Matrix Reloaded. I cut it into screenshots of every single frame.
Oh, wow.
And I made a website for it, so people in Czech Republic with a bad internet could watch the trailer step by step. That was my first
cool.
web project. I was absolutely, and I started to fall in love with the technology. And back then it was front page and some notepad typing stuff, and obviously no schools and everything. I think it's quite hard in Czech Republic to get a education in design, UX, or technology. Technology, no, that's fine, but design. So that was it for me, and I started to absolutely love it. I thought I'm like doing some Matrix stuff back then, even though it's super stupid. If you think about it, it's like
with characters floating down the screen.
Yeah. I was like, I obviously had the Matrix, as a cover in that, and you have to pick the blue pill or the red pill if you take to so. But I fall in love with that, and there's like 2000, I think, 3 or something. And then I said to myself, yeah, this is interesting. I love the websites. I love to build websites. So I started to build websites from my high school and whatever. Then I went to university. I hope my parents will not hear it, but I went there just to get a better computer. It's devious for me, but yeah. And back then I said to myself, yeah, let's go. Let's be full-time freelancer. It's 2004, 2005. So yeah, I started to build websites for some agencies. I thought I'm like, incredible. I got my laptop and I was just like, wow, this is cool. But then I found out that, freelancing is quite hard. It's not easy. It's not that, peachy. It's not that super. And I found out that back then, when I was that young, I didn't have the professional attitude to be a good freelancer. What it means? It was nice weather and it's just like, well, I'm not going to work and stuff. So I started to realize I need something more permanent. And then I found out, happily, some other guys in my very small city, which was not Prague. I'm not from Prague. Basically nobody is from Prague in Czech Republic. We are all from around the country. So I was like from a very small town, and we thought like, wow, there is no website builder back then. I think Wix was starting, Squarespace was like very beginnings, and in Czech Republic there was nothing. There were some very simple blog platforms that you just build a blog, and everybody has the same. It has the same design. It was very similar. Everything was the same, and we thought like, yeah, let's make a builder, but based on some super cool templates and design that people would love and just enjoy. So we built startup. We didn't thought like it's a startup. Back then, the word startup, I think, in Czech Republic was like, I think, non-existent. But yeah, we started. It went good, and I spent almost 6 years in there. I think a lot of people made website through our platform. I think it's like 5 million users in Czech Republic, which is half of the Czech Republic, basically built a website through that platform.
So it's like the Czech Wix.
Kind of, yeah. But Wix was just beginning back then. We were like kind of, I think it still exists, by the way, but it's, I think, I don't know if people are still using it. Probably yes. But yeah, and then just one friend called me that, he has a startup and they got the first investment. And, if I want to build a design team in Prague, I'm just like, wow, that's cool. And I looked on the startup. It was social media startup, some analytics and things. And I'm just like, wow, that is interesting. And I also was beginning to think that the whole website builder thing will be kind of dead maybe because of Wix, Squarespace, and others. And then I joined, very few people back then, very startup-ish. And I'm still there. Even though we kind of got acquired 4 years ago and merged into a bigger company. I still consider, most of the people are still from the previous startup called Socialbakers.
So Emplifi acquired Socialbakers?
Emplifi was born after a big font came and then just, brought many companies together into one. Emplifi was born from multiple companies merging together.
So which companies were that?
It was Astute and iPerceptions and Socialbakers. Socialbakers from like number of people, I think still the bigger one. That was it. And that was how Emplifi was born. It was literally born from, acquisitions. So, I'm still there. It's almost 14 years. I think it's going to be in a few months, 14 years. We have quite a bit more people in there, not 30 or 40 when I joined. I think it's like 700 or something.
Okay.
And we do a bit more stuff than we did 14 years ago. So it's still around social media and management, but we expanded even to chatbots, to VOC, to agents and care and commerce and ratings, reviews stuff. So the portfolio is a bit bigger.
So Emplifi is not just one product; it's multiple products.
Yeah. It's a huge platform. I think it consists of 15, 14 products. We are still playing around that. So it's a big platform.
So as a VP of product design, do you oversee all products or do you have a focus? Okay.
Yes. My team is around 20 people right now, UX, UI, research, and writing. We take care of the whole platform.
So in preparation for this interview, you mentioned the difference between UI, UX, and design. And it was the first time that I heard about it in these terms. I mean, everybody talks about UI/UX, but then how does design come into the equation?
I honestly think that with technology and with AI, we'll probably get there. It's becoming again one word. When I started, you've been doing everything. I was called, I think, webmaster or something like that. You designed it, you coded the stuff, you did everything, and then it started to spread into multiple new fields, which is very good. From UX, user experience, UI or research, and then even to stuff like motion and branding and everything, and the whole designer thing started to be a bit more running around. But now with AI, I think it's coming back into one person. So maybe in future, I'm even thinking about it, loudly. I think in a year, everybody will be a designer in my team. You're not going to be a UI designer or a UX designer, or even maybe a researcher. I think you will be designer.
So is it fair to say that in your mind, designer is like the full stack software engineer? So the engineer who is not like a specialist, but who's able to do like multiple things?
Yes, I think the technology is giving us this. The AI is giving us all of these possibilities to do that. Obviously, before you couldn't do everything. You couldn't run multiple discovery calls and design UI, and design a design system, and make a UX and prototypes, because just time and you wouldn't be do it. You wouldn't be just able to do it. So that's why, some companies started to hire a lot of people. But I think with AI that makes you more effective, you can focus on stuff that maybe you are good at. And the other things will be done not super silently and not absolutely on background, but it will be done by AI. So that's why I think the full stack designer is coming back, kind of. And I even wrote about it in my article on Medium, the shape of design to come. And I wrote it like 4 months ago.
So the link will be included in the video description.
Okay, and I will revisit it because I think we are coming into that full stack design thing, kind of. Obviously, not for every company. We are a SaaS, we are a B2B, B2C company. If you are running an agency, it might still be a bit different. You will probably more focus on craft and on the UI itself, how it looks. But I think in technology companies like we are, when you are building a platform, I think it starts to be like that. And I see even some movement in engineering, in that direction, kind of. So I think maybe in future, there's just going to be a designer, a product manager, which is also, product managers have it hard, I think, these days. And a developer, a tech lead or something, who's basically able to do kind of everything. So
you brought up the topic of the future. I did not ask the question, hey, what do you think the future of your field is going to be? I did not say that.
But yeah, I think we're going into that direction.
So do you think that these artificial intelligence tools are leveling the playing field for designers globally? I mean that people are able to acquire skills that they didn't have in fields that were closer to their own field of expertise?
Yes, I think yes. But on the other hand, the difference between, which is paradox, I think I see it as a paradox that seniors and juniors should be probably closer thanks to AI, but I think they are becoming more distant, because I think there will be a lot of junior people who will be able to use AI. And I see it even in engineering. You have a lot of people who type code with cursor, but then the architects are returning it because, it sucks. I think we can see this even in design, that a lot of junior people will be able to build interesting things, but all of those things will be probably similar because they don't have yet the experience, the taste, and the senior people will be more like a review people, if it makes sense, because they have the experience, they have the taste, and that will be very, very valuable. So I thought at the beginning, like, AI, everybody will be, on the same level, but I think, and I see it even in our teams, that the very good people will be still needed.
Interesting how you brought up the question of seniority in mastering AI tools, because at the end of the day, generative AI is a tool like any other, probably more powerful than many of our tools, and more disruptive. But at the end of the day, still a tool. Yeah. So I wanted to ask you in preparation for this interview, which differences you're seeing between junior designers and more senior designers. Are AI tools even taught in design school? Do designers who join your team, young designers, I'm guessing they must be like super used to AI tools. Are they happy about with these tools?
That is a good angle.
And what about senior designers whose workflow are completely disrupted?
It's a paradox. It's making it, I think, harder for junior people to join companies, because companies, and maybe, we did it a few months ago when we were hiring a new person. We really didn't want a junior, which is very that's not what I do. I always hired people. My best designers these days, but they are with me 11 years, for example. They came from a Ministry of Foreign Policy or some stuff. Like they
Okay.
didn't do any design before. So I was very open always to junior people or people who are not experienced because I was looking for passion and stuff. But these days, you really want somebody who already has some experience with agile and stuff, and you can't get that from books and AI. Unfortunately, it's how it is. So for us, and I think I see it from multiple people that and also the market is becoming a bit better for people who want to hire somebody, not that good for people who are on the other side, because it's becoming bigger. And product managers can tell you, like when we opened the product manager role, we had like 700 people immediately, like, yeah, let's do it. In design, it's not that that big, but it is something I'm seeing, the trend of more people are looking for jobs. So you, as a hiring manager or a VP or whatever, you can pick the good ones. So that's something that's also changing. And AI for juniors, I think that in design, it's at least in design, you can see that they are starting to be used to a lot of patterns that are similar, because AI will create a lot of stuff that will be similar. Basically, maybe even the same. Because you start some lovable tool, whatever, and it probably uses Tailwind or something, and every app you build looks the same. And companies that want to invest in good design, on brand awareness, they will want to be a bit different. And that is the difference that people who just start with in the field and who think that the AI will make you faster, blah blah, they have a problem with that. You are not used to that. You haven't yet experienced the world, if I may say, call it like that. And experience is very important for senior people, at least in design, because the taste, you just trained it over the years. So yeah, that is, I think, the difference. So it's a big paradox for me. I really thought that there's going to be a lot of opportunities for junior designers because they will be using tools, and I still think there is. But on the other hand, I think the need of expertise is much higher, and I see it also in other departments in our team and in our company and in our, when I'm talking with my friends, that the seniority is just, yeah, there is a revolution of that, I would call it.
So is that what you are looking for in whenever you interview a junior designer? The expertise and taste, is that what you're looking for?
Taste, mostly. I really believe in design, and you can see it in many articles around and studies, and think the taste and the craft will be very important in design and in UI and even in the product, because all of the apps will start to look the same. It's inevitable, unless you have the craft, you have the taste, and you can build something that is just different and maybe
So
working better.
I'm just a silly engineer. I don't know nothing about art or taste. How do you even gauge someone's tastefulness in an interview?
Wow. Yeah, that's if we would go into the UI part, the people who love to do design systems, for example, or they play with pixels. In the pure UX, the taste is a bit more about how you think about problem, how you solve it creatively. It doesn't need to be precisely about just how it looks, because maybe you will have people for that, or you will have a design system, which is also a difference that came over the time, that suddenly there are multiple design systems, they are open sourced, and basically every team is investing. Back then when we started, we just had a Photoshop file and everybody was just like taking stuff, then it just became a standard, a norm. So maybe these UX people don't need that much of a taste for visual aspect. They need to be able to create simple flows, for example. And again, AI can make you cool prototypes that are sometimes a bit too complex, and they don't solve what you want to do. So there is also a difference in that, and I can see that people who are not that experienced tend to be over reliable on that. I can see it in project managers when we gave them tools, no code tools, and we told them like, guys, yeah, do it, build some like prototypes on your own, and they always end up with the first one. Like, they create the first one. Wow, it's done. It's done. Here you go. Paint it, make it nicer. But that is the difference.
Ship it.
Yeah. Also, they would love it. I would love it. But design is about throwing stuff away. We create 20 of these and we just throw them away. That's how you make the best one. And we rapidly test it and showcase it to users and stuff. So this over-reliance on first version, that is dangerous. That is dangerous for design people. And again, maybe in a smaller startups, if you are building your own app, it's fine. It's absolutely fine, but not in a scale-ups, in a bigger companies that have some maturity in design and processes and whatever.
So you jumped straight into the future of the field, and then how junior designers should prepare for that. I want to go back from the future a little, and go back to that first moment when you realized that AI would have a huge impact on your field. Well, what was that moment exactly, and what kind of tool did you use? At what point was there this aha moment where like, oh, this is going to be big?
We are quite obsessed with, at least my team, about speed and efficiency. We are very good at creating prototypes very fast. And it's needed because if you create prototypes fast, you can go to your customers sooner and you can save millions in development of stuff that sucks. That is basically how when I am asked what is design, why it's helpful, it's many times about that. You build the right stuff that people actually want to use because you do research and you create prototypes and you test it, and you are ahead of engineering. So when I saw the first no-code tools, when Lovable started and we tried it, I was just like, wow, holy mackerel or something. How was it called?
Was it Lovable or was it Triplet? Was it something else?
No, it was Lovable. It was Lovable because I think it was best. Also, obviously ChatGPT when it came out and, everybody was starting to play with it and it was just very clever and stuff. We were like, wow. But for design, the no-code tools, that was when we started to think, wow, this is really something and we are doing it every day and it's basically a standard. When I open Figma now of a design, I can see Lovable, Macaulay, Replit prototypes in there. That's not before. Before, you just, find inspiration here and there and you go on competition and you just try to take the patterns from there. This thing is just a game changer because it's super fast and it helps you in many, many ways. And it speeds up the whole process absolutely in a crazy way. So that for me was the real aha. I was like, wow. This will make us super fast.
So where do you spare time using these tools? Is it in team-to-team communications? You no longer have this long feedback loop between designers, product, and engineers. Is that where you're?
Yes. Also, it helps a lot in that. I think there are multiple ways. First is that it makes us and enable us to create multiple versions. That is absolutely awesome. Because if you think about Figma, and even when you have the best designers in the world who are able to create prototypes super fast, you will never create that many versions of a feature, of a product, of whatever, without that. It's going to be painless. Second is interactions. It's super, super hard to create very good interactions in Figma, inputs, forms. something that, a user does this and something happens.
Yeah, because you need a backend for that. You need
kind of, yes.
Yeah.
With these no-code tools, it's a breeze, and you can just go and test it with customers super fast. You would spend, and I measured it, you would spend on something 2 weeks in Figma, and still it wouldn't be good because it's just kind of impossible. Typing stuff in there. If you imagine very interactive elements like search, and you want to test that if you type something, it's almost impossible to create. So with these tools, it enables us to be very efficient in the discovery, the whole process of trying things out, throwing them out of the window, and coming with the best option. I think that is very important. And the second thing is going to engineering. I have been using it a bit as a, how to call it, a challenging thing. When a designer comes to a grooming or a planning and just shows a clickable prototype of stuff, the developers told you it will take us a year. And obviously they will start telling you, oh, the code base, it's not that, it's blah, blah, blah. But some of those, and we already tried it out before, it really works. When some developer sees it, he starts to be challenged. And we had this example when a designer came to a meeting, showed a prototype, and the developer was pissed, I think. He was like, wait, what is this? I can do it in 4 days. And he did it. And we were just like, wow, well, let's see. Before you said half a year. That is interesting. So I'm also using it kind of as that, and to kind of not challenge, but to be more competitive and to speed up things in the whole process. And obviously, product managers playing with the tools, if they do it properly, you can speed up the whole discovery and the first parts of the whole process. You don't just get a brief, which is a document or something. You even get a prototype, and that is cool. There is still the open mind of, this is not the final thing, please change it so it makes sense.
So you mentioned that AI was leveling the playing field, and it enabled it was blurring the borders between UI, UX, design. I'm wondering if you are also able to blur the lines between engineering and design. Like, do you manage to get insights into systems engineering and the software stack that you should be using? How components should be architected?
So what we do, and I don't know if other companies are doing, probably yes, but we started or some of our designers started to push code into production, which is hilarious thought, and without AI, impossible. It's impossible.
So what kind of code? What kind of code?
Small changes, because I'm looking on estimations. I'm not a big fan of estimations like, let's give it 2 points for a button change, and just like, what? Designer can do it. And with AI and with good tools and good code reviews, obviously, it's possible. And we started to do it, and I want us to ramp up even more. I really believe in future of something like UI engineer. We have, as designers, a bit of advantage. We can see the stuff. Most of these, developers, if they would want to be a designer, I think it's a bit harder. I don't know why, but it's like that. So designers, even touching the code, I think that is very, very good. So we started some trainings for designers about how to set up environment and whatever, and things like that. And maybe in future we'll even go into component. I'm also pushing my design system team, who are the UI people, the people who make the stuff nice and how it looks and interactions. I want them to go into code even more. I basically want them to own even a developer part of design system. And I want the developers who are now working on design system to be architects, to just approve it and give hints on what to do, and not spend the super tiny things around like, this component, it needs to drop down like this. I think it's a waste of time of everybody. So this is a big enabler from AI for designers if you are open-minded. Not every designer wants to do it, and I'm fine. I'm like not pushing everyone, but some of them, when they are they feel challenged a bit, and they are competitive, they want to go that way. And I think it is also a future of the design coming to engineering. And I also can see companies or startups where you will not have product manager, for example. You will have a designer and developer. And maybe in some companies you will not need a designer. You will have a product manager and a developer. And maybe in some companies you will not need a developer. No, that's not coming soon. But
and VPs, we need to get rid of VPs.
yeah, I'm telling you, I'm the first one. I'm gonna be gone. But yeah, I see it. I see it in that way. That is for me the second biggest aha from AI. Stuff like Cursor and how it's really easy. Obviously, it can mess up everything, but this enables designers to really roll up the sleeves and do a lot of stuff that before was like maybe in a backlog somewhere. Small UI updates like copy changes and a button in here and stuff like that. I don't believe that designers will be making big features. Maybe in startups, yes. If you build your own app, if you build something easy or an internal tool, yes, I can see that. But the production stuff, when you have companies paying you $1 million, nah, you don't want a designer touching that yet. But the smaller stuff, yes. I mean, and again, it enables the engineers to do more important and harder stuff, which I believe is the future.
I think this is super interesting how you are bringing designers to the engineering part. And you're saying that it's easier to do it this way than the other way around, like to bring engineers to the design. What I'm guessing is that it's easier because the training is much more structured. We know what it takes to train an engineer, whereas a designer, as you mentioned, it requires taste. And how do you even acquire taste? I have no idea.
It
Maybe
is.
you know.
I'm simplifying it quite a lot. That we have the advantage to have eyes. Obviously, all of us are having glasses and we are basically blind, but we can see the stuff as designers. I don't know why, but it's happening. Engineers, for some reasons, they can't, and there's like no shaming or whatever. It's just like that. So I think it's way easier for designers to be, but in a very like simple junior level. Like this designer will never be a good architect or something, because we don't think that much in systems. We do, but not that much, and so yeah, I think it's like that.
So still, it's interesting blurring those lines because I think that eventually we should be able to move engineers the other way around to design. But so yeah, I'm really curious to hear how you set up those training sessions. What do you teach there? How did you produce the material? How do you pick the designers that should be trained? Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, we are doing it voluntarily. Like, we just, well, it's very simple. You found a developer who's willing to help, mostly on front end side. Obviously, back end, that's for designer an absolute nightmare that nobody would understand. So we picked some, front end developers from our design system team because we are close with them, and the idea was like, yeah, guys, can you start rolling up small tutorials that will invite some designers? And they started with stuff like Cursor, IDs, and how to make environment locally. What is Git, by the way? Because a lot of designers have no idea what is Git and stuff. So stuff like that, and they started to give them some homeworks. I think the first homework was to make a portfolio, which is for designer a nightmare. We suck in making our portfolios, to design the portfolio, but to give them the homework of building it, that is I think interesting thing. So there was also kind of like a homework situation, and it's still ongoing, and I think it will still continue. And I also want to do something similar for engineers who would love to know about Figma, about UI, about design system. Go from the other way, come to us. So we'll also do something like that. There's advantage for everybody in that. You'd be surprised at how many developers in our team don't know how dev mode in Figma works.
I don't know either.
So yeah, you see, but you need it.
Dev mode in Figma?
Yeah, you can take the components, the CSS and stuff, and just
got it.
Everything is faster and things. So yeah, I want it also go the opposite way, and it's going to be voluntary. It's like it needs to be organic. People needs to just they need to want it. They just there needs to be the will. If we start to make it super coded, like hard coded and very forced and enforced, that's not going to work in our environment. Maybe it's because we're Czech and we have been used to communism and stuff, but that's a different way.
So in my experience, the most difficult thing would be to set up a dev environment for the designer.
Incredible.
Setting up Docker containers.
That is super hard. ChatGPT, by the way, helps you tremendously. I even worked with my ChatGPT to set up our environment, and it took me 2 hours, I think, or 3 hours. Without that, and we have a very good documentation, on engineering side, I will not do it. I would be lost. So there's another example how ChatGPT or AI can help you with things like that. So, but yeah, setting up environment is the hardest thing. And I think then just to do the front end, it is not that hard. If you have good components, if you have a good React or whatever, it's doable for designer.
Okay, so I wanted to ask you about the tools that you're using. So you mentioned ChatGPT, you mentioned Figma, obviously, Lovable. What is your AI stack of tools that you're running?
Good thing. We are running on Google, so we have Gemini Pro right now in Google Studio, the AI Studio. We are using it. We have a license for Macaulay. There is a Czech startup that is basically like Lovable, and we thought let's give our fellow Czech guys something. So we are using that. Yeah, we are using that a lot. Cursor. And I really want, basically, I'm also right now working with our devs on a system that would enable the designers to build prototypes with links directly from Cursor, because that's the difference. Cursor is local, kind of, if you don't understand Git. So you open Macaulay or Lovable and you create a link and you send it to somebody.
Oh, right. Got it.
It's not that easy when you are on GitLab and you have so we are working on that because Cursor is faster for a lot of the new Composer one is like super fast. I was just I'm right now doing some tool internal vibe coding and it's super fast. So Cursor, but I wanted to use it more. Obviously, Midjourney and ChatGPT and we are using some tools for even in video, in motion, because we have a motion designer is using some tools. But I think a lot of designers kind of went back into their, I think it's mostly ChatGPT. ChatGPT is getting better and better. You can have the canvas. I have a designer who's creating prototypes directly in ChatGPT, and it's fast.
Yeah, so you didn't mention Photoshop. You're not using the AI features from Adobe?
No.
Okay.
No, Adobe is, I hope they will not hear it, but...
Oh, they will.
They reverted back into, creative, because Photoshop should be about photos and, not UI. So they finally went into the direction, but I think not that much. After Effects for motion, yes. But our motion guy is basically writing own scripts for After Effects or own plugins with ChatGPT, and that is super awesome. We have built some plugins for our Figma.
Oh, this is cool. This is cool. So you're building plugins for After Effects with ChatGPT.
Yes.
Can you give examples of such plugins?
I think it's mostly like setting up the environment in After Effects and like super easy things that would you would probably download or buy a plugin or a rendering one, something like that. And we even built for Figma, and that is a very good first training. I always recommend to every designer: build your own plugin for Figma. Find the thing that in Figma makes you annoyed and takes you a lot of time, and try ChatGPT, build a plugin. It's very easy. It works. So we built a few plugins for our Figma that we use. Very simple stuff, something that creates the structure of a document, for example, but it does it like that, one click, not some rules and Confluence and whatever. So that is very good, I think. Try to build your plugins that make you more efficient, which is basically for me the AI, how you are more efficient. So yeah, what else? Basically everything is AI these days. Like the whole stack is like that. But no, for me it's Cursor, it's the no code tools and ChatGPT, Perplexity, or Claude. That is the way. And also some automations for copywriting, for example. We built our own kind of replaced a copywriter who became a designer with AI, but based on our learning, on our voice of tone, on our like how we want the copy to work. So that's also interesting because we want to be faster, blah blah blah.
Did you build this with a generative AI agent plus a RAG? Or did you add some extra tools on top of it for this copywriting thing?
Through Make. This is through automation software and ChatGPT and yeah. So this is, I think, the most beautiful thing about AI, that if you find the way that makes you more efficient, do it. Also, some designers just stopped using the no-code tools because they just found it out that it's maybe even making them slower, which makes sense. There is also I think this will also be a difference between juniors and seniors, to find where to not use AI. You can see that a lot of juniors are, or like people who begin, who are not experienced, they are trying to use it for everything, for building prototype, for copy, for images inside. On the other hand, the senior people just think about it, and they maybe say to themselves, well, I can do it still faster in Figma, and just do it in Figma, rather than building the prototypes. So I think also there is this level, to find where to use it for what. And for me, it's efficiency.
Yeah, so you keep, so I need to ask you a hard question. So you keep talking about efficiency and speed, and hearing you, yes, I can hear you having this like super strong focus on delivering faster. Yet a creativity takes time, artistic taste it takes time to develop this taste. Are you caving in the industrialization of the artistic process? How do you avoid falling into the trap of producing stuff that looks like everybody else's stuff?
Yes, thank you. So you can see that I'm more on the kind of engineering side, from most of because I think product design is solving problems. It's not art, but we have also been doing brand and some other things. I think for creativity in that level, I always use the Ghibli example. AI is very good at creating Ghibli images, like Ghibli memes, and everything that looks like the anime from Miyazaki. But somebody needs to come up with the first thing. Somebody needs to be the first guy, the first Miyazaki, or somebody who draws the style.
Painstakingly, and it's very time consuming to produce an anime.
It's gonna probably take them maybe a year or something.
Yeah, more than that probably.
Yeah. So, but there is the human level, and I think that's very important. And in art and in creative process, you always look on inspiration, but the inspiration is out there. I think very good creative people just go outside and watch colors of the field, and the buildings and art and architecture. AI can't do that. It just replicates stuff. So I think, again, in even creative process, maybe there's going to be a lot of people kind of even replaced by AI. People who create maybe I don't want to be mean, like social media posts, for example. That's something you can easily automate. But there's going to be somebody, the top level, who's going to be the expert. And it's like I told you before with the code reviews and stuff. Who's the taste maker, the creative person? And those people need to spend their time on inspiration and on creativity. And I would even recommend them to be off from AI.
That's interesting.
Don't look at that, please. Just focus on your part. That's why I also believe that branding in future will be super important, because everything will be similar. And if you find somebody who's very creative and who can do that, you won it. You won the lottery. So these people will be in a big need. I think everybody will need them. On the other hand, there will be just few of those.
This interview is drawing to a close, but I want to ask you something that is really on my mind these days. It's about chat and voice UIs, and I keep asking this question to many product managers and designers, because I feel like so many of the interfaces that we are building could and maybe should be replaced by some chat interfaces or voice interfaces. Voice has historically been underused in tech products. Even chat UIs have always been terrible. I mean, who goes to his bank account and is happy to see a chatbot in the banking software interface? I'm not. But all of a sudden we have these chat interfaces which are so powerful, and so I'm wondering, does it still make sense to produce these like complex, like super well thought out interfaces, but then at the end of the day, maybe it could be drastically simplified by a chat UI?
Yes, you're absolutely right. It's something called agentic interface. And some designers already started to write some manifestos about it. And I absolutely think that is the future, but not for every use case. I still believe that this is wonderful for airlines. I also know that airlines will never do it, because airlines are working with dark UX patterns. They want you to spend money on here and there and click on a. But for this, it will be absolutely genius. And there are many use cases where I believe this is the future. On the other hand, there are many complex platforms where people just really need to do the work. And even when we are right now designing, and for us is the biggest challenge, how we design AI for our customers so it makes sense and it's smart and it's not over the place, because nobody just wants to use it like that. I think that's also becoming like the hard thing for every designer. So I really believe that there's gonna be some platforms, some use cases, complex systems like finance systems. Like you don't want to give your finance department AI bot, like there's still needs to be some level of control. And I think for these things will be interfaces used, but they will be simplified a lot. But you can still see oracles of the world where you have very, very huge complex systems that could be simplified, but I don't think that they should be simplified with agentic interface. But on other cases, absolutely yes. I can see that. I think voice, with all the new capabilities of AI, will be very soon having a revolution, kind of.
Do you have ideas on how you would include voice in your products?
No, because it will replace me. Um,
Again.
again, not at all. And we are still, I think we're still in the beginning of even the chat interfaces to be, as I told you, to be really helpful. Chat interfaces have problem that people need to know what to type in there, which is in complex problems and complex software like our, it's not that easy. They really still want to click on something that gives you something in a very simplified way. On the other hand, there are still a lot of products and websites and apps that could absolutely work just as a chat interface. Um, movie recommendation sites, like what the hell. I think IMDb could be just a chatbot, like not really, like um so yeah, shopping. You have seen it that ChatGPT has a new thing with Shopify, new partnership, and I think that is also the future. You will just chat with ChatGPT, tell it, hey, I want this cream, and it will just pop up. You will buy it directly in ChatGPT. You don't go to any website. So that is also, I think, future. Complex software. I don't know. How would you design a building with voice chat? It would be interesting.
Probably not a building, but I'm kind of hoping that we can start using slower software. So slower software would still take a lot of time to build, and we would still need fast designers to build it. But then I'm kind of hoping that we can have software that is more
Human.
nicer to interact with. Like I don't have to stare at a screen to actually use it, but that's a dream.
Yes, I think more human. And if you've seen Her with Joaquin Phoenix, I think you know where it might come. And in some interfaces, you have already seen it, that it's going there. And I think that is a good future. And I think agentic interface is one big um, advantage, and that's the context and that it knows you, which I'm a big fan. I know a lot of people hate to give AI their informations. I'm, on the other hand, my ChatGPT knows everything about me, and I even like force it to know about me, because I'm using it to be more effective. So, and I like it when it's contextual, when it actually knows me. Software doesn't know you. Like you go on an airplane
Yeah,
or
it's
a
blank page.
flight tickets, and it's just this thing can maybe even know before you type it that you want to fly to Copenhagen, for example. Like I can imagine it. It will just know and basically just plan me the whole trip, and I will just click a button. Maybe even I will not click the button. I will just say buy it, and it will do it. So yeah, I think that might be the future. Not in every field, I think. I believe honestly they will spend more time designing these types of software that will make people maybe more effective at work, but the smaller ones will be probably replaced with maybe even a voice. Why not? But it's still a long way. I think it's not that soon. Not gonna happen that soon.
Okay, Luděk, I need to ask you the final question, and that's the magic wand question. And the magic wand question is, if you had a magic wand to do anything, what would you do with it? But then I want to ask this question not to Luděk, the VP of Product Design, 40-something. Luděk, I want to ask the 14-year-old who just came out of the Matrix show in 1999. And so if he had a magic wand to achieve anything, what would it be?
Oh my God. It's so, as a person, I would love to feel time machine is very simple, but I don't know why that makes complications. I would love to just have the feeling of surprise when seeing a movie. Imagine you would see Exorcist back then in 70s for the first time, because there was no social media, there was nothing.
Yeah.
Just saw a poster and you thought, what is this? You went there and you just you went for it, or Alien.
Yeah.
And obviously, I would love to go back.
Alien.
Yeah, I would love to see Matrix for the first time again, without any knowledge about anything. And I think that for me would be I would love to do that, even with music, with everything, because I think we are, and maybe AI is also a part of that, that we are not surprised with many things these days. Like, everything is, in your face, basically. You can see it everywhere. Social media, AI, chatbots, websites, people then just talking, and it will be that. It will be that.
Surprise, more surprise. I would buy that. Yes, I would buy that.
Obviously, I could say time machine and just go back, but that doesn't work. I would need time machine that would
no, but then you would kill yourself.
Probably. But I would need time machine that would even remove all of the things that I have in my brain. I would really love to see some of the old movies for the first time with any prior knowledge, just no knowledge at all, nothing, just a poster, a cinema, and just see it. That would be my magic wand.
Yeah, I can definitely buy that. Thank you so much, Luděk. I really enjoyed this. Really appreciate it. Thank you for your time. I guess I will see everybody later on Edly Spotlight.